welcome once again to Resist, episode 2. Where are all of you?
Wrap them in my lair.
Yeah, we're currently in some weird, basement or something in Cresthaven Hall. And, just all been offered to join up with these people that are fighting back against the city.
And all of you said no, right?
Yes. New campaign. We squashed the resistance.
We're like, that doesn't really sound like our kind of life.
That'd be a super effective way to troll the GM. Yeah, we're totally in for this game. First session starts. Oh, no, we're not interested.
Yeah, we don't want to join that. That sounds shady. That's not up our alley.
I just noticed you, Steve, the 10 million points to join a campaign.
Oh, I'm saving up. I'm at 100,000. We're gonna get there.
I think even if I hadn't spent any of my points, I would still only be about... actually, I'd be about halfway there, maybe.
So yeah, you guys, well, what led you to get here?
Well, it was a pretty long, eventful session.
Oh, are you being delicate with it, Tess? You blackmailed me and my brother.
I mean, I do what I have to do. It's not my fault that you've been very lax with your donations.
Oh, I'm sorry, helping people? Is that what you're saying, Tess?
Yes, in a city where helping people is looked down upon, people will use it against you. Not my fault. I just find the leverage where I can.
Well, despite being blackmailed, it seems that it will work out for the best for both of us, as I have entered into agreement with Tess's... Is it your boss?
Sascha.
Yeah.
Boss, business partner, kind of a mix of that. Technically, he calls the shots, but...
You more or less report to him, though, right? Is
Yeah.
that my understanding? Okay.
Yeah.
But I have entered into an agreement with Tessa's boss, who I had as... I need to pull up my notes. I think I took his name. Augustin?
Oh, damn it.
Augustin
Cameras are still off.
Laska. So it's
Augustin,
like
and
Augustin Milos Laska or something like that.
he has agreed that if I help increase his product sales, he is a manufacturer of meat products, that we can probably skim some numbers here and there to build up a food donations on the side that would be less obvious than my previous charitable efforts.
Yes, as long as you bring the business in, we can funnel some of your money through the business to, donate food to whoever you wish to donate food to. Assuming you bring us the business we need.
Well, how did you get from blackmailing someone to suddenly being in Cresthaven Hall?
Well,
Some random small janitor creature, I'm not really sure what race you are, it's kind of weird looking, was listening in on our conversation and told us of this interesting meeting place that would be on neutral territory.
And what happened when you arrived? Well, when you were there for a little while.
We were approached by a strange, dark-skinned elf who asked us some vague but also kind of pointed questions about how we felt about our lives here in the city, and then led us basically on a treasure hunt of sorts to test whether or not we could solve the puzzles and do the right things and figure it all out, which led us to encountering him and a couple of his fellow resistance members, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Wow, very good recap. So, we are deep beneath Cresthaven Hall. You have met 2 of the members of the Resistance. You know that there are 3 others that have not... Well, no, there are two of them have spoken so far, I guess is what I want to say. There is another person that you saw over here, but as you've been in the room a little while, you'll notice that there are two people kind of standing towards the back. And of course, Grey Bloom is off in the shadows behind you. Let me get to my correct notes here. I have the wrong ones off. Dragomir, the gentleman you first met with, takes a few steps forward to each of you. Well, now that I know what I know, I think it's important that we start talking about what your skills are. So, who do we start with? Let's start with you, little girl. Lynn, I believe it is, if our records have served us correct.
Well, only my friends call me Lynn. Is that what you are?
We are either friends or foes. I would choose the former, not the latter.
Then you may call me Lynn for now. But if you betray my trust, and I ever hear you calling me Lynn again, well, I'll sick my brother on you. I don't really know. I'm not much of a. I kind of look around. Are they like armored? Are they like what's like their appearance?
So right now they're all just kind of wearing like these sort of robes. It almost looks like a cult meeting from the looks of things at first.
Okay, but no, like they're not like heavily armored or anything.
No,
like
no
that.
visible armor, no visible weapons.
Well, I'm not much of a fighter, but it looks like none of you are either. So, I'm good. I'm good with words. Sometimes not as organized as I should be, but I'm working on that. And at times I commune with the mistress, and I feel something. I haven't quite figured out what it is yet, though.
The other gentleman, the person who looks like a very beaten up and disheveled assessor, takes a few steps forward. You speak with the mistress. In what way? Are you summoning her power from the ether, or are you summoning it from seemingly elsewhere?
It's like her prayers at times manifest in me. I haven't quite gotten the full grasp of it, but it appears to come purely from her.
That could be of good use. Thank you, Lynn. Dragomir speaks back up once more. Well, you said you had a brother. Which one of these is your brother? I believe our records say his name is Valerio. Which of you is Valerio? And he's like gesturing back and forth between either Dracus or Valerio.
Clearly me.
How would that have been clearly?
Can't you see the resemblance?
I suppose humor isn't your strong suit.
No.
I thought it was funny.
Thank you.
What is your strong suit?
Can't you tell? I'll try to flex my muscles. Do I see do they look impressed or no?
They're pretty satisfied by it. Are you skilled with bare hands or with blade?
With these, and I'll retract my shifter claws. Or not retract.
Extend, yeah.
Yeah.
That is good to see. And those are natural, you found, right? They come from a place inside of you, not from a place of magic?
Of course. And I'll also bare my razor sharp teeth. And I'll also actually use my shifter aspect and shift into the aspect of the owl. I don't know how this actually takes place. If my features change a bit, like owl-like or something.
Yeah, you kind of get like the big eyes, and your neck kind of like extends a little bit and has a little bit more twistiness to it.
You got a rat in your mouth now.
Every time you
Chewing on it.
Rat.
And a couple of like your hair like feathers a little bit when it happens.
I am one with nature.
The assessor man takes a few steps forward and starts looking over you very carefully. This will manifest well soon. Have you felt other changes yet?
No.
More will come. You haven't registered this yet, have you?
I don't know, Steve. Did I have to register this?
No, you have not registered this yet. Like, because you've been living kind of on the outskirts, you don't know that you would need to register this. This probably would have started manifesting a little sometime after you lost your parents.
I wasn't aware I had to register such gifts.
Oh, they do love their registration.
Am I going to get found out if I don't?
Try not to use those things in public. I think that will do you best.
Of course.
Well, of course, unless... Well, we'll talk more about that in a moment. Well, since you're not Valerio, or since you're Valerio, that would make you Drekis, I believe?
Yes, yeah. I'm Dracus. What am I good at? Pretty good with the bow. I can fight up close with my hands, or I guess if I really got angry, I could fight somebody. I wouldn't really choose that, but if it came to it, I guess.
So you have a lot of versatility.
Yeah, I was taught to try to be ready for any situation.
Good. That would be very useful. If I may, would you please, and one of the, behind you, you hear some dragging across the floor. Would you please take a shot at that target? And there is now a target in the background behind you. And they will hand you a bow if you don't have yours on you, if that's not regular traveling stuff, but I assume you kind of keep that on you.
Yeah, I kind of keep it with me.
Yeah, so you hit a good mark in the target.
That's the first attack roll of the game?
Yeah, that is the first attack roll of the game.
Oh, snap.
And it is a good hit. That is a good omen for the game. Excellent. We are very happy to have that skill. That could come in good use. And Tassara, we're very familiar with the paperwork you've been flooding the market with. What other skills do you have?
Yes, paperwork is definitely one of my better points. I'm also great with different languages. And the thing I enjoyed the most is alchemical creations, specifically finding ones that can circumvent the magical restrictions of the city.
Good. We could use such things. We did a lot of quick homework before you came down here, as you can tell, but there's only so much we can get on such limited terms. We have good access to informational resources when we can, but we need to expand such things. Information is the most valuable resource we have and will get us the other resources that we need to grow this organization. Oh, thank you so much. The way that we do this is by learning what's going on throughout the town. It's easier, a little easier with people like you. We know a lot of who to talk to at the right times. We have the right network of people out there asking the right questions. But none of these people are built in the same way that the 5 of you are. The 5 of you are potentially kitted very well for a few assignments we have in mind. And they will walk over to one of the walls, and they will push into a stone on the wall, and the wall will slowly grind sideways and open up into a much larger room. They'll gesture as they walk towards it to follow you, with two of them staying behind.
Follow?
As we're walking, I'd like to not bow down, like lean down, because I guess Lynn's a lot shorter than me. Lean down and whisper to Lynn, "Can we really trust these guys? One of them looks like the assessors."
I don't know if we have much of a choice right now, brother. We can reassess later. They have too much on me for us to oppose them right now.
Blair will just nod. Follow along.
Okay. Yeah. You all can head in. As you do so, this room is incredibly large in size. There are tables strewn about the room, rather large, wide tables with various papers or like maps of things. There aren't a lot of people down here. There are probably only about 5 or 6 people roaming about from table to table, looking over various things, looking through a few books here and there. A couple of bookshelves sit along the walls on the outside. There's a few tables at a larger round table off to one side with a number of chairs around it. More chairs than you've seen people so far.
When you say large, how large are we talking?
So this room is easily the total, if you were to square off the upper building of Cresthaven Hall, this encompasses the entire lower portion. This encompasses that entire area of what Cresthaven Hall would have been in a rectangle.
About it, almost, I guess about exactly, or like clearly large. I don't want it exact. I'm just trying to get an idea of how big I'm imagining this.
Yeah, this is like, hold on. I'm trying to think of the area here. That would be like hundreds of square feet in size.
Goodness, this... I've been here before. I've never seen... This is like a structure underneath a structure.
When we built Cresthaven Hall, we had ideas in mind for certain things that we were going to do in the future. Ideas that didn't pan out as the city changed. And so many forgot about this space. We have simply restructured it. It no longer exists within any of the plans in the city. That was at least one mission that we had run successfully. That being said, however, not every mission is a success. And those that got us that had to forfeit their lives for our benefit. What you see here is the product of a number of people making a lot of very calculated moves. A lot of successes, a few failures. What we've asked you about here to do, and what we brought you here for, is dangerous and is not something we would normally be asking of people. But you all have backgrounds that fit what we're looking for. You all are in some way hurt by what this city has done. Wronged by the actions the city has taken. If anyone has the right motivation to change this city, it is the 5 of you. As they conclude, they get to a table. and they start. They have like a series of different places on a map laid out, and they will gesture to a few of the different places on the map that they have. We've been planning things for a while, a couple of smaller scale projects that should get us in the next steps of information that we could use. We think that these plans are likely, one of these plans is likely best suited for the 5 of you. We can go over it, and from here you'll have some time to think on it. For the next few days, you may notice that you will have people near you at all times. Don't be alarmed, so long as you don't speak of the resistance. They will have no reason to do anything about you. In fact, they may be better for you in some ways, providing you protection and cover.
What are you implying? Are these your people, or?
Yes, like Grey Bloom, we have a few of the people who manage the streets that keep an eye out on the activities of potential recruits. If it seems like you're going to speak out, we will have to take action. Now, if we may, we do wish to point out that once we offer you these options, you need not partake in any of them. You can choose to simply be allies to the resistance, to offer direction and input, and go about your regular lives. So long as you do not speak of the resistance, we will have no reason to worry about your actions. But I don't think that's fitting for any of you. I think getting to action is more along the lines of what you're going to want. Here are what Ford and I have come up with. The first of these is that we believe that there is a veritable gold mine of a resource we could use to help enhance our efforts in getting rid of and taking down key problems within the city. That resource is the adamantine mines that lie somewhere within the city. When Halron was built, the choice of where to build it was based on a lot of useful resources, and adamantine is one of them. A way that we can evade the magical sensors while still having enough force to be able to take out any resistance we might face in our way. In a number of our endeavors to get information, we have had to take efforts to silence people or to replace people. And these efforts have, without access to adamantine, have made things more difficult. We believe that there is a financial institution that has records leading to the company that currently handles the transfer of adamantine between the mining company and the production company. If you choose to help us acquire this adamantine, the first goal will be to acquire these financial records. We don't know how they're hiding the information, so it may not necessarily be as simple as looking through a cabinet and finding the document that reads adamantine this much right here. We believe that these agencies are working in codes, so you may have to try to read between the lines. Part of that is what we're banking on you to have some skill in, Tassara. If you can fraud one way, sometimes you can fraud the other.
I can certainly try.
The alternative options are, as far as resources that we're looking for are concerned, There is also a mineral of great value, a mineral that can allow us to, a sec. I did really bad on my notes for this. One sec here. I hate when I do this. Sorry guys, I blew all of your immersion.
I kind of like whisper to Valeria. What are you leaning on this, brother? Do you think?
I've always felt weaker around adamantine. It maybe people guarding it will be wielding it. Sounds dangerous for me.
Our next resource that we're looking to acquire is a resource known as Noqual. It is a crystalline substance that has a lot of similarities to metal. We believe that we can forge armor out of this substance that will create resistive properties against the arcana that exists within the city. When the city was first being built, Noqual was to be a strongly beneficial tool in Porthos's quests against his greater foe. We believe this is why, fundamentally why, he chose this location. This is, again, going to be very similar to looking for the information for adamantine. We believe that the financial institution managing their records is in a somewhat different location, but still much the same. Find the information we're looking for, get it back here. The alternative is one that I guess Ford can give better details on. Ford, who is the one that looks similar to an assessor, will reach over and pull down a rather large piece of parchment and unroll it onto the table. And what he unveils here is very architectural drawings of an early model of the ether sensors. Arcanatech blueprints are one of the most valuable things that the assessors guard.
Sorry, what did he call those?
Arcanatech blueprints.
Sorry, your mic went lower for me.
Arcanatech.
Arcanatech
Yep.
blueprints?
Blueprints.
Okay. Thank you.
We are unlikely at this time to locate more valuable Arcanatech blueprints, but we will be able to acquire some of the older models if we can, and some of the Arcanatech that is less pivotal to the success of these devices. But what is important is these devices will have the names or the IDs of the other agents who have produced the previous products that went into their development. We have a few places where we know you can go to start getting some information about some of these blueprints. Each of the buildings we have a number of buildings that we know should be relatively low security that are currently using certain Arcanatech resources. And in order to use them, you must have blueprints drawn up for them. If you can acquire the resources from 3 different places, this should be enough for us to identify the key similarity between them that we'll need to move on to the next step of locating the producer of these objects more specifically. I know some of this may be hard to explain, but a lot of this is piecework. We must find the information that will lead us to the information we need to finally lead us to the source. And each of these tasks will be dangerous. But if you take your time and assess the situations properly, keep note of what is happening, and work swiftly and silently, we believe that none of this should be a problem for you. Or at least not a large one.
Are any of these time-based, or one of the other more urgent?
No, each of these are tasks we have available, and if you choose to pursue one, though, we ask that you maintain pursuit of that one. It is a bad idea for us to over-diversify a single resource into multiple categories. We can always send other teams on these missions. But I would rather bring this to you now, since you're here, and give you the option to think it over. Anyone else we offer this to, we will not be expecting an answer from them for the next 3 days, so we will give you 2 days to think it over. Does that seem fair?
Would it be a knowledge to know if Noqual interacts with potions or not?
Yeah, give me a knowledge arcana.
I might actually just raise that question, and then Tess can chime
I
in.
changed my thing over to my actual character. I always forget about that.
Thank you. So Noqual should not have any interaction negatives on potions. It is an element that largely largely enhances the ability to hold on, let me go through this real quick.
Can you spell it while you're looking at it?
Noqual.
Oh, I guessed correctly.
I put 2 L's.
So if you were casting spells, Noqual might create a problem. If you're trying to put out components, it does create some level of interference. However, the production of potion or potion-like substances is not going to be inhibited in any way by this, unless you were, of course, trying to blend the Noqual into some sort of potion. They roll over more.
Well, I sort of whisper to my brother, I don't know anything about Arcana Tech, but if the Noqual helps you and I do what we do better, it seems to be our best bet. Actually, what is Noqual made of? Is it metal?
It is a crystal.
But it was a crystal.
It is a
crystal
pale
substance
green
similar to
crystal.
metal.
That can be worked like metal.
So is crystal fine for shifters?
In terms of armor?
It's not metal.
Or what do you mean?
Ooh. Then yeah, I definitely... It's... Metals, they always make you sick, brother, right?
Yes, I can't wear them.
If the Noqual is crystal-like, perhaps this is our best bet. Perhaps we could finally find a way to protect you without making you sick all the time.
I mean, I don't know about these things. It sounds like it's a glass. Is that really going to protect me? More than this leather?
Noqual is about as strong as iron. But not as heavy.
Yes, I mean, it's not just us going to decide, but yes, I think going for something that could improve ourselves before we take on the more or they could all be equally as dangerous, but something that could actually benefit us before we take on more tasks, I think is the smart.
All 3 options sound equally as interesting to me. I don't have any personal preference on which.
We also have resources to aid you in these tasks. He Ford gestures over to one of the people, waves them to come over, and they will rush over with a handful of these bottles that they lay down on the table in front of you. These bottles will allow you to, if you have the ability to produce potions, fill the bottles with potion undetectably, so long as the liquid remains either in the bottle or in your body. Don't go spilling it around on the floor, otherwise you'll have problems. Additionally, we have access to a number of resources, weapons, armors, etc. We can provide you with more as resources and allocations become better. Beneath here further, we have a forge where we can produce these things.
What color is the flask, the vial?
The vials are kind of a blackish red color.
Oh.
If you actually look at your minis, I believe I put a vial on each of your minis. I think it's easiest seen on Dracus's mini. There is a sort of... I think actually, no, I don't think I put it on there. I think Dracus, you had a vial on there, so I colored it accordingly, was what happened.
Nice.
But it's a little hard to see, but it's like a blackish red color.
Okay. So it does not look like it's likely to be made of the snow qual.
No,
What is this bottle made of?
A number of different things. We've lined a thin layer on a wall just inside of the glass with lead, but then we have properly sealed away that lead exterior with a number of other things, a bit of silver, and then interspersed on the inside, another tight layer of glass. It was a very difficult project for us to complete. It took a lot of hours and a lot of time, but we have an expert craftsman working with us to make sure this is accomplished.
I have a request to make.
Yes.
I kind of look across the group. Everyone here seems more attuned to the appearance of stealth and evasiveness. This red that I wear to honor the mistress, it may not be the most subtle of things. Would you perhaps be able to commission me something more like these colors? And I sort of point across all the very dark colors that everyone wears.
Well, this is where things get important, and this is where we can talk about some of our preventative measures that we like to take when we send groups out on these missions. We prefer that each of you have an outfit of your own that you will wear on these missions. Something that makes it very clear it is not you. Something that should cover your face and cover you from head to toe. This will be a persona of yours, and a very important thing to have a persona for, because it will distract people from who you are. The less your persona is like you, the more likely it is people are to assume that there is no way it can be you. So if seen in public in these personas, you will not likely have much time before you're caught. So be sure to get out of the view of sensors as quickly as you can. But try to make yourselves look different. On indoor scrying sensors, do the same. At first it seems a little awkward, but over time it will grow. In some ways your awkwardness will make it more realistic that this is different than who you are.
So, out of character, I'm curious, how does disguise interact with stealth on these? So let's say, like, you're trying to avoid cameras, right? And you roll some number of stealth checks. Is the disguise like a backup to the stealth check where, like, if you get caught on camera, then someone also has to make like a perception check to see if they can recognize your disguise?
That is correct. A lot of what is going to happen here, for the way we're going to work this mechanically, is someone here is making you these disguises. So you're not just you're always going to take 10 at somebody else's disguise check.
Okay.
That is going to be a higher disguise check because you're going to tell them what you want or come up with the image of what you want, and they are going to produce that persona for you. And so you will always have that persona. But if you do key things in key circumstances that give away hints, you will basically lower the value of your disguise periodically. And if your disguise reaches a low enough point, your disguise is no longer a disguise. You are basically you. But stealth will help make sure that you're not even seen as even the disguise performing the actions. And for the purposes of scrying, I would like to kind of remind people that your stealth score is a measure of being able to not only move undetected by people, but also move undetected by the cameras. The better you are at sneaking, the better you'll be at noticing where sensors likely are and being able to move around those places in order to make sure you are not captured by them.
Yep. No, that's great. I was trying to figure out where to balance disguise versus stealth. So like the disguise just being like a customization that someone here does makes it a lot simpler.
And levels in disguise though, or ranks in disguise though, will allow you to make your persona further away from you. So when you're interacting with people, let's say for example you end up in someone's office and you need to defend yourselves and there's no other alternative out of it. But you decide that you're going to try to talk it out and maybe like try to convert the person first, or maybe like try to have a good dialogue. You may need that disguise to make it so they don't know who you are, trying to make that conversion or trying to talk them through like how what you're doing is not bad for them. It might even be good for them. So if you want to use your bluff or diplomacy, you're also going to need a disguise to kind of add to that to some degree, to seal your persona. Because otherwise it's going to be you as you making the social encounter.
So while in disguise, if we get spotted visually by stuff, it uses the manufactured disguise. If we interact with somebody, that becomes their own disguise.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That makes sense to me.
You're welcome. Well, if you need to come back in here, just repeat the same motions you did before. Make sure the rooms are empty as you come through. But in the meantime, you have the next 2 days. Think on this, rest, and act as though nothing has changed. When
we have our own spots for storage, keeping our things here?
You will, yes. If you have chosen to take on these tasks, we will give you a secure place for your things to be.
Excellent.
Is there a place here where we can sit down together? We don't really know each other all that well. Where we can sit down and maybe discuss which one we'd rather do, or...
This is something that we've been working towards. At the moment, we do not have the resources. If you can speak in code, you can, of course, use the hall upstairs, but...
Hold on, did I misunderstand? I thought you said there were a bunch of tables and chairs down here.
There are, but they're covered up and stuff. You're welcome to, kind of sit around them, but they're not, there's not, specific isolated areas, so if you're talking about it, you're going to also hear everybody else kind of talking about things in the background.
Well, I mean, at least we know this place is safe, so
yeah,
we should probably talk here, I would think.
How about this big, scary guy? If we figure things out and we reconvene in 2 days, we come to a final vote? Or would you like to discuss right now?
You have time to think on it. We don't need your answer now, but we would like your answer in 2 days.
Would discussing now help you, sir? Or would you like some time to digest as well? Because I'm still processing a lot of this.
Oh, you're talking to Drekus. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm talking to Drekus. Yeah. You're a big scary guy. You intimidated my brother.
I don't know. I don't care what we do, really. So, I just figured if we sat down and talked, it would be easier, come up with a plan.
Perhaps we should go our own ways and discuss with our own
And then
parties, and then reconvene here in a few days and decide.
And we can take a vote and do it democratically, as it should be, before Cyan made things this way.
All right, sounds good to me.
Meet back here tomorrow, and we'll discuss things together.
So, all right.
What time tomorrow?
Why don't we meet the same time we came here to keep it simple?
I don't even remember what time it was out of character.
I don't know what time it is right now.
It's late afternoon.
Late afternoon. Does that work for you, blackmailer?
Sounds just great.
And if someone doesn't make it, let's just assume that they cannot do so discreetly. It seems that we have to do everything carefully at this point.
If someone doesn't make it, it is very likely they are compromised, and you should not expect them to be working with you any further.
What about you, Kitty? You've been quiet. What was your name? Kitty Chomper?
So did they say I was going to be a part of the group?
Yes, they've been referring to the five of you this entire time.
Okay.
One of the things that you're aware of is if you bring in a group, you kind of become tied to that group because they're your responsibility. If they fuck things up, it's not on them, it's on you.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's meet up at tomorrow.
Tomorrow it is then.
Well, let's go ahead and take a short break, and we'll see what the next day brings. Be back. That is
Aria's Fire Cloud.
Yep. Welcome back. Thank you for the bits. So, we are the five of you are taking your leave, heading back to your homes. And let's kind of look into that as we go. Tessara, you are you living in a place of your own, or are you living within Laska's living space that he has? He has a small, like, cozy little spot above his shop that he's
I feel
able
like
to
I'd
stay in.
probably just live there.
Okay. Yeah, so you'll have a room. The two of you will share some of his Arcana Tech stuff, his fridge, his fridge cooling box as it is referred to, his like cleaning boxes as well. So universally here, so some things to get accustomed to if you happen to have access to them. There are a lot of these places will have the sort of modern day for our world amenities. Cleaning boxes are a universal product. You basically put things into them that are dirty, close the lid and give it some time, and eventually you can open up the box and take the objects out clean. It's highly recommended, though, that you not put multiple different objects in the box at the same time, because even though the cleaning process is relatively separated for certain things, there are some unknown anomalies that can happen if multiple things are put in the same box at the same time. When cleaning the object, sometimes the residue from one object may end up on another. So if you have like oils on food products and you put like a shirt in there, suddenly you have this like oil stain that doesn't necessarily come out of your shirt, because the ability of the cleaning box to clean is basically only based on the on prestidigitation. You also don't want to put like your shirt in with a knife, because your shirt may come up cut up. But it will clean basically anything that you need to clean, as long as you keep like-minded things together. There are some of you may even have limited access to a viewing globe. Viewing globes are very similar to scrying devices, only they specifically scry on a certain point, and that is a point where communications are being specifically broadcast to them. They have very, very limited functionality, and some of them have even very limited access to content that you can consume. Some of you also might have like little audio devices that are set around your living space, things that might make some sounds or make some music-like things play in the background for you. But these things are mostly available to the wealthy. So, for example, in your case, Tassara, that kind of thing is not the kind of thing that Laska has access to any longer. You believe he's got one, because every once in a while there's kind of like some very faint noises in the shop when there are customers there. But other than that, like, it doesn't seem like he's probably got more than just the one probably hidden somewhere in the shop. He does not have a viewing globe. He does constantly seem to have problems with his cleaning machine. It does a good enough job, but he's been complaining as of late that there's a lot of like flux buildup in the area, and he's tried to have several people come out to sort of clean up the flux problem, but they keep insisting that that's not what the issue is. The issue is that he's just not properly activating the device, or that he's not upkeeping his part of the Arcana grid within his home, and he needs to like have somebody come out to look at that instead. But
It's definitely the flux capacitor.
but in this case, like, the device itself is under some kind of like warranty style thing from the manufacturer, but the Arcana grid is something you have to have installed in your home and maintained yourself. So kind of think of that like the power that runs through the house. This is something that has to be maintained by an outside technician. Whereas if you buy a washing machine, you just call your Maytag guy and he comes out to like work on the machine. But they keep coming out and telling him like, this isn't our problem. This is a problem with something else. Those of you that are wealthy enough to have Arcana tech will know that flux is a common problem. Flux buildup happens not a lot, but enough. There are devices that most wealthy homes have that will sort of counteract flux. Flux is like a byproduct of excessive magical energy moving through an area. As you have a lot of magical energy from things that aren't being used, you build up flux, which is kind of like magical pressure of sorts. To release flux, what they often recommend is that you run some of your Arcana tech at times where you don't necessarily need to use the Arcana tech. This kind of empties the air of excess flux. So in a way, you can kind of think of this like the early days of electricity. A lot of very, very fast and loose rules on how to get the energy in. Not a lot of understanding as to like why it is that you can't just force a bunch of energy into one spot at any given time without there being potential complications. And not a lot of research done into like how do we stop this from having negative impacts on certain other aspects of life. It doesn't usually catch fire though, as long as you're not casting random spells when there's a high flux residue in the area. So Tassara, you've encountered these a few times. So you have access to a couple of these things. And when you arrive in the kind of common area that you and Laska share, he's kind of just sitting at the table with a couple of cuts of meat in front of him, slapped between two pieces of bread. He doesn't have cheese, so he tends to just kind of eat this bread and meat sandwich from time to time. And he looks up to you a bit. there's a bit of like hope in his eyes, but you're kind of used to this look, like a very like longing hope for the future, but also like you're looking at the empty shell of what once was. There's kind of like a misery that never really leaves him. Ah, Tassara, you're back. It's good to see you again.
Yes, I just got back from speaking more with our new business partners.
Good, good. Things are going well then.
Yes, I think so. They weren't exactly keen on my blackmail, but you know, we do what we have to do.
Pull up a chair. Get yourself something to eat. Pull up a chair. It's on me.
Sure. I'll sit down and join him in his meat and bread sandwich.
Do you think she'll help? Do you think this campaign will work?
She seems to have a good heart, and as long as this seems like an adequate outlet for her to make her donations through, I think she will do everything she can to make it work.
You know these are not the choices I would make if I didn't have to, right?
Yes, I know.
They took everything from me. Everything. I cannot believe I've managed to hold this much still together.
Yes, it's a shame, but we will hold it together. We will make this work.
We'll get back to where we deserve to be, right?
Yes, well, you'll get back to where you deserve to be.
You don't think I would help you? You think I'm that?
No, I don't mean that. I will never be noble, Laska. I know you will be there to help me, and I will have things through you, but I will never be seen in the light that you deserve to be seen in.
That's not what I feel like this city was once founded on.
No, it was not, but it is what it is, I guess.
Sighs very heavily, takes another bite of a sandwich, and just kind of looks at it for a moment as he chews. I suppose at some point we'll probably reach the bottom of this, right? This is all going somewhere, isn't it?
Hopefully. I would assume so.
I'm sorry, I know my misery has been a lot lately. It's been hard. After I lost the kids, it's not easy anymore.
Yes. Things aren't easy right now, but they'll get better. They have to.
I do hope so. The two of you can continue to chat for a little while and he'll keep eating. Drakus, you make your way back to your humble home. It's not much, but it's yours, and you work hard to keep it. Presumably, based on your level of income, you probably at least have access to a chill box. Though you know that the Arcana tech out here is very poorly managed, and so it probably is like you. It's the kind of thing where you wouldn't keep anything that you know is super temperature sensitive, because it won't last. It definitely won't last for very long. But if you have stuff that you know can sit at like a certain lower than normal temperature, it'll be fine. And it does come with a like built-in heating element, so you can manage to like cook up anything you need to eat without risk of having to start a fire or deal with the needing to acquire wood and stuff like that. But it is sometimes a rather noisy place. A lot of these rooms are very close together, and the walls are as thin as they can manage to pay for. And so it's probably a regular thing for you to hear some pounding or some shouting from time to time. I don't remember. Did we say that your father is still around, right? You live with your father at this time?
No, he was arrested.
He was around. Okay,
So,
just making sure. I hadn't jumped over to my notes yet for you, so. So yeah, you can arrive home. Around your house, do you have any keepsakes you keep of your parents?
Not really. Pretty much. I had some stuff on my mother's, but I kind of got rid of most of it when she killed herself. I kind of blame her for leaving me, kind of thing. The only thing of hers I really keep is the bow. My father getting himself arrested, also kind of blame him for that.
Okay.
He should have known better, type of thing, you know. Back when everything went down, I kind of thought, you know, if we stayed the course, everything would be okay. And then when he got arrested and all of that happened, I pretty much spend most of my time alone. I probably listen to the noise as entertainment because I don't have really much of anything else.
Sometimes the fighting between the people can give some very interesting stories.
Right. Yeah, I agree with him this time, type of thing. I like distance myself from my friends and stuff too. So I'm pretty much a recluse, which is why I'm so happy to go and do anything with anybody. That's why when they're like, "Hey, we should do this," I'm like, "Yes, we should do this. Hey, let's play this scavenger hunt game. It seems great." Yeah.
So yeah, for you, this is almost a level of excitement you haven't had in a long time. The closest you get to this is when you have a particularly good hunt, and there's like a number of creatures that have breached the wall, and you get to take them out. But now this is potentially an infinite number of creatures that have breached the wall.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah. Has Drakus at all like started to maybe rethink the blame that he places on his parents?
Not yet. Okay. He's still pretty low right now. He hasn't really taken the time to process his parents' emotions. Okay. So right now it's more like they left me to deal with all this. How could they do that?
And Greybloom, you live in kind of so you can live one of two places, or you probably still have a residence in one of them.
Just go ahead and copy and paste Zog's apartment. That's the Goblin standard living accommodation.
It's so much worse than that, actually. So do you remember, for those of you that weren't a part of this, but Tom might remember, do you remember when I ran my variant paranoia thing, where you guys had like the room that basically it had a bed and it had 4 walls and it counted as a room? That is basically like the massive complex that you live in. You live on like the 35th floor of this place, and it basically just has your bed. There is a small amount of storage that you have in here. They claim that at one point it used to be a chill box, but you haven't ever like felt anything cold in it at all. You put things in there and like left them in there for days and come back and you're like, maybe this is a degree colder than it was before, but you're definitely not feeling it when you pick it up. But you do know that like everything that the Resistance has told you, things have been changing. Very little things, but you can see the changes happening. And you know that a good amount of this building, well, they don't necessarily know about the Resistance. You know that if the Resistance were to suddenly go public, many of these people would immediately jump to defend the Resistance. It would be pointless and have no effect, but they would still ally with the Resistance. Over time, you've been able to convert a number of these people to at least siding with or picking up bits and pieces of information and sharing it with you from time to time. But what does Zug do to kind of keep himself
Grey Bloom.
or Grey Bloom, I'm sorry. You said Zug and I like immediately got that name stuck in my head. What does Grey Bloom do to kind of occupy his time?
Well, so I'm a amateur taxidermist. I like to have my stuffed cats to remind me of the good times.
So you have a number of your favorite meals on display that you can remember?
Exactly. Yep.
God, you're like a weird version of a crazy cat lady. Somebody comes in your house. What are all these Oh, God.
Yeah, and like I said, I am a very much an amateur.
Yeah.
So,
It's some of them are like the faces just kind of like crooked on the on like whatever it is you tried to put it over top of.
one of them is just a rotting corpse.
Well, to you, there's not much of a smell difference, so but yeah. You've been in all the time that you've been with the Resistance, for the last like few months at least, probably closing in on a year now. They've made a lot of promises to you, and some of them they've kept, and some of them they haven't. How does Grey Bloom handle like promises that aren't kept with regard to the Resistance?
Well, I mean, essentially, he's going to be thinking about it from the terms of, is me not getting what I want better for the Resistance overall? Because that's really more important. Like also like if it's like how big a thing is it? If it's something major that I absolutely need, then obviously I wouldn't be too happy about that.
Thus far,
But
that hasn't really happened.
Okay. But yeah, I mean overall, it really depends on each specific situation.
And Lynn and Valerio, you arrive back at Lynn's home. Lynn, you brought him back home today.
He's not just not today, Father. I need Valerio's soup in the guest room just tonight, please. I don't.
It's really this important tonight?
Yes.
Fine. Do as you need.
I give my dad a hug. Thank you.
He gives you like the kind of half-hugged thing. I want you to be okay. Just...
There are good things brewing, Father. There are very good things brewing, I promise you. I have a plan.
As you hug him, though, he does have one question for you that he whispers. He's not on anything, right?
I confirmed it. He's not.
Thank you.
Where's my perception check to hear this?
Give me a perception, absolutely. Oh yeah, you overhear that question.
Oh, okay.
You're pretty close at this point, so.
I'm gonna try like faking like a I don't know what you call it, but like when like people like the sniffs where they're like like snorting.
Yeah,
something.
that will immediately make him like look over at you a little bit hesitantly, but then like
I'll like a smile where I'm like baring my teeth, like a
he'll look away from you then and look back to Lynn. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just kind of walk in and walk to upstairs or wherever the bedrooms usually are.
Yeah, they're upstairs. There's a little foyer as you enter with stairs that kind of lead up the right. The house is kind of split into a couple of wings. To the left is your kind of like family room and a couple of other sort of more entertainment rooms. And to the right is where much of your dining is done. And up the stairs and down the hall is where your room resides.
Yep. So I will just go up and to my room.
Mm-hmm. Claire, are you following, or do you want to harass her father some more?
No, as I pass him, I'll just kind of like smile and like just keep eye contact with him as I walk by.
He like tries to look at something else and pretend that like it's really important that he be looking at it.
But yeah, I follow Lynn up.
It's like as soon as I like get into my room and you get in, I just like sort of just like what is going on today? This is crazy. This is too much. I'm a salesperson now, and now I've also gotten you involved in the resistance. Like, how many things can I do in one day? And she's just like kind of like pacing back and forth, like just rambling about stuff.
Why does your dad think I'm on drugs?
He thinks you're on so many things. Drugs are probably only the like 60th percentile of bad things he's asked about you at points. But I digress. Are we in over our heads, Valerio?
Maybe, but I'm sick of sleeping in the gutters and nothing changing around here. I want to see the outside again.
By the outside, you mean outside of the house or outside of the city itself?
The city! I want to run with the animals as my parents did. I'm not a city dweller.
I just like go up and hug you like, please, you know what they do to anyone that tries to leave. They shoot them dead. They will treat you nothing different than any other wildlife around here.
That's why we need things to change. Nothing will change unless this is an opportunity for us to do something.
So it's worth it to you if that chance to run with the beasts that you so identify with, that even if it gets us killed, potentially.
I won't let that happen.
How can you be sure?
Nothing's guaranteed in this life, but I'll make sure my eyes close before yours do. You stood with me from all these things that happened to me. I wouldn't bear to live if you were to die. I'll get you through this.
I will start practicing every day. I never took these things seriously, but I never really imagined myself in this situation. I will learn to hold a shield. I will learn to protect you. I will pray extra hard to the mistress to unlock whatever it is that she's trying to tell me. I will try everything.
Together we can do this, I think. We need to stick to each other and watch each other's backs in this. We don't really know these others so well yet. We can only really trust each other right now.
You know, I would trust you with my life. I agree though, it is the others, our terms, it kind of feels we're tied together by a task and not so much by trust. And I hope that we can get over that. I hope that we can learn more about these people.
Speaking of, what have you thought on for our first task? What do you want to do?
Well, the adamantine would make you very sick, and I'm not strong enough to move in that. But between the other two, we do have arcane sensors. I mean, my father has had them installed quite many years at this point. I've never quite tinkered with them. And the Noqual, from what's been described, could be very helpful too, and it wouldn't hurt you. I guess it would actually depend if we view ourselves fighting more or trying to circumvent getting into those situations.
Just a second, hold on. I'm just trying to recall. There is no, like, we were guaranteed that there are no public sensors in private establishment, like we're for sure.
There are no hidden sensors in private establishments. Within
and
the
Lynn
home,
would be aware of her own sensors.
yes,
and not
within the home, her family has put sensors on the outside of the home. So, like,
Okay.
if you're out in the yard, they have private sensors keeping an eye on things. And if you're at Lynn's family's place of business, they have sensors that are keeping an eye basically everywhere. But again, these are private access sensors, so they don't get reported back.
For sure, right? Like we know that.
There's not one in the room. No, because they have to be visible in order to be here. You are not allowed to have secret sensors because assessors need to be able to come in and identify where your sensors are when they come in.
All right, but just being as paranoid as I already am, Blair will kind of like, shh, and I'll just put my ear to the door to see if I can hear any people trying to listen at the door to what we're talking about in here.
Yeah, you will hear the hallway sound silent.
We should be careful what we speak of. We can't be too foolhardy. I don't know if your parents will try to listen in on what we talk about and stuff like this.
Father would never eavesdrop on me, but, well, he might because he still thinks you're on drugs, but you promised me you're not on drugs.
You really have to ask me that?
Yes.
What?
You're talking about flying and running with the beasts and scaling walls? That seems like the types of things that drugs might plant into your head.
I'm talking about not metaphorically, in the future. I want these things.
Okay, I'm just...
Not tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have even suggested it. It's just... If you are fine with this, then I am fine with this. I think deep down, something hasn't felt right with me for a very long time. No matter how much I try, I can't influence the change I want. Just trying to be nice to people. It feels like it's something deeper, something that must be broken. And I think these people have offered us a chance to do that. My only hesitation is that this puts you at a lot of risk. And I would not do so without your full assurance that it is what you want.
I think this is my only shot to get back at those bastards that took my parents.
I agree. And we shall do it. The only question is, what is our best avenue? Do you have any insights between the sensors and the no-cool? It sounds in ways that we have to potentially do all of them.
Perhaps. It didn't seem like they had a booming amount of people in there, but perhaps it's just the time we were there, or they rotate people in and out. But I think the third option sounded the best to me. It sounds like if we can obtain these blueprints, we can have a better idea of where more of these things are in the city. And it would help us accomplish the other two, should they still need to be accomplished. But I guess we can wait to see how the other people swing on these things.
Yes, both 2 and 3 seem the most to me. I will be, I guess, a tiebreaker if it comes to it. Otherwise, I will just vote with you.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody wanted to do or discuss as the next few days pass? I guess the next day you guys had planned in the later part of the day to get together and talk shop about these things. And Sascha, you'll be given a note, a message to pass along if you're going for the next time you're going to meet up with Lynn, to let her know that in 3 days, he'd like to have her come out and start doing a bit of He'd like to start doing a bunch of talking about like what the plan is here. And over the next few days for you, Dracus, you've been told that anything you catch, he is willing to pay you an entertainment coin for. Entertainment coins can be used for a lot of different things within the city. They are kind of like a universal currency. They don't really have an exact effective gold value, but they get you access to a lot of stuff. If you want like things to keep for yourself, this is how you buy things you want for yourself, or how you buy like the ability to go out and get drinks for a while, or go out and if like gambling or gaming is your thing, you can do those things on coin as well. Places like Crestfall Haven, or no, hold on, I'm on the wrong screen. Cresthaven Hall are designed as places where you would kind of come in for the day, hand over your entertainment coin, and you're allotted a certain amount of things. You're allotted like a certain number of drinks, and you're given like access to a table where you can play games or play pool or just hang out and listen to music, whatever it is that you want to do for the time that you have the coin. Most people at their jobs on average have enough that they're given to take care of like their food, their clothing. But clothing is a very interesting thing here. So many of you, if you're not willing to spend your entertainment coin for clothing, will have like somewhat tattered or worn out clothing. As the clothing is almost kind of built to decay, it's built as cheaply as possible. And so like working in it will cause it to kind of wear down. And you're given like another set of the clothing every few like cycles. But as the cycles pass, you notice the clothing doesn't quite last long enough to meet a full cycle. Like it already starts kind of falling apart by the time you're supposed to be getting your next thing. So some people will spend entertainment coin in order to get a nicer outfit, or maybe some clothing thing that represents something that they like. But a lot of people like do end up using it, just on drinking or on gambling. There is a big like opportunity for a lot of people to spend their entertainment coin gambling for more entertainment coin. Some people will also save it as well. There are bigger entertainment options that you have access to. There's stuff that you can do in the inner district with enough entertainment coin. But on average, people earn about 1 entertainment coin every 3 days of work. And on average, keeping in mind that a work week here is 10 days, on average, people work about 6 days a week. So you have to work 3 days on, 2 days off, or in some manner of that. There aren't really weekends per se, and people kind of vary up their schedules. So yeah, but the 5 of you can meet back up at Cresthaven.
I probably got there first.
Okay.
But I'm milling around in the entertainment area, waiting for everybody, acting like I'm not anxious.
Okay. Yeah, who probably like? What kind of is the way that your characters arrive? So Dracus sounds like he arrives early. How about Lynn and Valero, since you two move in kind of the same pattern? Are you early arrivers, late arrivers, really late arrivers?
I'm trying to keep a facade, so I probably come in and just instantly like go to the bartender, and I'm like, can you hello, sir? What types of meals do you serve to your clients here? Are there any meat-based things going on?
We got some meat-based things if you like meat. I got what tastes like pork loin. I've got some chicken-flavored bites here.
What if I told you that we could give you a supply of actual A+ quality meats? Not the imitation stuff that you're clearly selling in some of those things. I saw what you did there with your eyes. Actual, authentic, well-cured meat for an affordable price. I'm sure you people would flock here.
He thinks on this for a moment and feels like he needs some kind of check to determine how he feels about this.
Yeah. It's the notes are no longer a concern to me.
That could be rather useful. I think a lot of people would really appreciate that. But where are you getting this from? Meat's hard to come by nowadays. We can't quite afford to be paying someone at your status for meat of your caliber.
Well, he is a very experienced man. Augustine. Augustine has worked for 40 years in meats, and he has recently repurposed his business to be more of a dynamic model to not just people of my stature, but to every business owner in all of the city.
Well, I guess I'll have to communicate with my superiors, and we'll perhaps be able to do this. This would be a great benefit. I get a lot of people in here that do get very questioning of what do I mean when I say flavored. So yes, that could be quite useful.
Perfect. And then on top of that, I will take a round of 5 ales to that table where the man who's sort of just playing games over there is sitting.
Well, thank you. Yeah, he will. He'll have the ales dispatched there, and yeah, you can cover it with your family coin.
Yeah, and I will go join Dracus.
Yep.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Well, so we don't know that you're necessarily next, but that's likely. I feel like, first of all, let's go to Grey Bloom. Grey Bloom, late arriver, early arriver. I feel late, right?
Nope, extremely punctual. He will
Okay.
arrive there
Exactly on time.
at the exact time that he is planning to arrive there at.
All right, and how about you, Tessara?
Probably on the punctual side as well.
Okay. So you'll see Grey Bloom as you're arriving.
I'll just nod and keep heading in.
And yeah, the 5 of you can meet together around the table.
Lynn, I have a note for you from Laska. I will pass it towards her.
Alaska.
Laska. Sorry. Augustine? His last name is Laska.
Oh.
Sorry, I refer to him as Laska.
That is interesting to call people by their last name. I honestly don't even remember my last name at times.
It's just how I've always known him by.
Very well, I will read the note.
Yeah, the note is basically, I'd like to meet with you in the next 3 days around this time. Please come by my office so we can discuss details of our business arrangement.
Thank you. I believe I've already started planting some roots, but they may involve your boss adapting to a slightly different business motto.
Well, I'm sure that's something the two of you can work out between yourselves when you come meet him.
I ordered where are those drinks? Are the drinks at the table yet?
They are gradually getting to the table, but they do arrive.
It's like this mug's like so big. I'm like, I don't often do this, but you know, I just gotta take a pull drink. I've been thinking to myself, this is crazy. Have any of you been thinking that same thing?
No.
It's not too crazy, but it is happening quite fast.
Do you need everything to go slow in your life?
The stakes seem very high, yes? If we mess up.
I look around. Is anyone listening in on our table?
No, you notice that there is like a very strange amount of separation between you and anyone else.
Anyone also notice this weird separation of people?
Is this something I know about, having been here for a little while?
Yes, so you'll know that there are people that are kind of strategically pushing people away from your table to allow you guys privacy. There are a couple of people that work within here that obviously know about the organization and are like specifically sort of steering things. So as people come in and they're looking for a place to sit, and people start kind of moving in that direction, they'll be like, "Oh, the lighting is much better if you head on over here," or we've got this really cool thing over here, and that works about 90% of the time.
And so much more frequently than in real life.
Yes.
Being an actual host.
Yes.
That does not work well.
Yeah. When you're like, I want to put you over here because you're standing right here and I know you're going to be super noisy and annoy somebody else. And they're like, no, we want that booth over there. But
well,
yeah,
COVID requires that I place you here instead of there, and they still want to fight me on it.
COVID's not even real.
Infringing on their right.
I shouldn't say that because I don't know whether or not Twitch is going to become like Facebook and just take it down without checking first as to the context.
I go back up to the bartender quick. I'm like, I didn't catch your name, by the way. It might be important if I discuss with my employer about this.
He'll lean in a little to you and say, "We don't deal in names here. You know that, or maybe you don't."
Well, just something to refer to. It doesn't have to be your actual name.
Sure. You can refer to me as Frankie.
Frankie. Good. Thank you, Frankie.
You're welcome.
I'll go back to.
As Lynn sits down, I say, I notice that not many people are around us, but just to be safe, I think we should speak in code as suggested. The first task we were mentioned for, let's refer to as going shopping. Second one is a cleaning up endeavor, and the third one is a repair and fixing up job. So, what do you guys want to do? You want to go shopping, clean up, or do you want to do that fixer-upper job? What are you guys leaning up to?
And she knows it.
I'm leaning towards the repair work.
Repair work.
I was kind of partial to shopping myself.
Are you gonna keep them?
I don't remember which was which.
I feel like you should have put that in chat, John. It was a good idea, and it should have gone into chat because even I had forgotten.
Shopping, cleanup, repair. One,
Oh
two,
no, I
three.
know which one it is. Dracus doesn't. He's like,
Oh, I had lost track of it. Like, if you put a list in front of me like that, my brain is like, list received. Where'd the list go?
Putting it in chat would be metagaming, so I said it, so they have to remember it.
I guess that's a fair point.
So
I like that you're
like
doing that.
says that he doesn't remember. Be like, shopping, cleanup, or repair. 1, 2, 3. Shopping, cleanup, repair. Which one?
I'm very close between shopping and repair, but I don't have a strong connection between the two.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't care which one we do. Should be fun either way.
Lynn, I thought you were in favor of cleaning up rather than shopping. 2 and 3 is.
I said cleaning up and repair. Did I?
You said shopping and repair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cleaning up and repair.
You all suck at this code stuff.
Hey,
I'm not much of a
perfectly,
shopper. That is
excuse
the only one I'm not interested in is shopping.
What do you guys think about cleaning up this town then? Little cleanup job? Seems like we were all mentioning.
Well, yeah, I'm a janitor, so I clean up.
I think that this is the most could be beneficial. Cleaning up some mess around here.
Yeah.
Perhaps if we go downstairs, we can talk more plainly and maybe finalize our decision.
All right. Sounds good to me.
I'll try to finish my drink.
Okay.
Mike, can you take a bit of this?
Yeah, I'll take half of whatever's left in Lynn's cup or whatever.
Okay.
Why do they pour these so full? They're like the size of my head.
You'll get used to it.
Tess doesn't drink, so she'll just like shove her cup towards the middle of the table for anyone to grab.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how much of an established drinker Valerio is, but I mean, I have 18 cons, so I feel like I could handle another one.
Okay.
So I'll grab it if no one does.
Yeah, these are fairly weak. Like, the goal here
Okay.
is to give you enough alcohol to keep you kind of, like, mildly buzzed. But it would take a lot of these to actually get, especially somebody of your size, drunk.
So yeah, I'll take it. Just trying to look manly in front of everyone.
Yeah. You can go through a couple of these and then make your way downstairs. Much to the surprise of everyone, when you walk in, Dragomir is there, and he will come towards the five of you as you enter. I hope this is good news and not the bad kind.
Good news, I believe. I think we're decided on the Nuqual mission.
Is this true?
Believe so.
Oh, yes.
Very good. Come with me then. Let's talk the details. He pulls out the papers and rolls them out, and pulls out a few more and moves some of the papers around and rolls out a couple. As we know it, there are only a few companies that deal in the financial workings of things. These companies do exist in one of the more difficult places to get access to, but something we think that you'll be able to do quite well. Within the western end of the Archtome Borough, there is a small financial sector. There you'll find a few different companies. We have reason to believe, based on our understanding, based on what we've seen of people moving in and out, and people we believe to be directly related to the Noqual industry, that these people are I guess you would call them, I don't know really what their positions would be. I never really got into business management in my old days. I was much more of the sword trade myself, and well, there's definitely not much use for that anymore, except in where we're at now. But these sort of, we'll call them financial advisors, let's call them clerks. These clerks bring information back to these financial advisors, who then sort of direct the decision-making power of the company, and then these clerks sit on it for a while. We've tried to track these clerks for some time, but we believe they're using magical means to communicate back to whomever it is that actually works within the company, because we haven't noticed any behavior of them moving to any large buildings or making any direct business endeavors. But we do know that we are pretty sure that the financial information is moving between them and these locations. We are sort of taking a chance on this one, but I think it's a solid lead that we have. I trust my information. The most reliable way to get through will be to go in through the Armorer's District. He will gesture to the gate up here. The gate at the northwest is a gate where I think you'll find the least resistance. A lot of people that live on the outskirts here go into the Armorer's District to buy maybe more fashionable accessories or outfits. The Armorer's District has become a sort of upscale clothing district. Not quite what it used to be, since many of the people that went out and caught beasts have washed up. If you enter through there, you should have your path of least resistance. And if you make your way to, and he will place building on the map. That's not the color that roof is supposed to be.
Which gate is the northwest gate here, Steve?
That is it, right there. Yep. A little down. I'll move it a little more into place, but it's right there. The building is not that big. The building is... Come on, don't do this thing where you're only letting me resize. This is so annoying when it does this. So the building is right here. Actually, it's right here, sorry. Within a number of other buildings that are here. And this is... Pull up my notes. The name should be showing up in just a sec. You see it there?
See where?
There should be a name between the Archtome Borough and the Armorer's District.
I don't see a name, but I do see the...
I see the building.
All right, hang on. Let me do this, and that should make the name visible.
Oh, yep.
Perfect.
There we go.
The company is known as RJ Fiscal. You need to be careful because all three of the financial buildings are within the same area, and they don't have the best marking in them. But if you're careful and attentive, you should find the right place.
I'm going to use, by the way, just for bookkeeping, I'm going to use light blue as like a sort of a active targets thing. So like anything in light blue is referring to our current sort of task.
Okay.
So like just so we can keep track of like this is pertinent to the immediate future.
So are we doing this thing I said where we are all, when we come together, we're joining our transparent papers to form this map, and when we are away from the base, we have no map?
Well, I really love this idea. There's a really important thing that I do want to talk about. That is something that you'll have to acquire separately. That kind of paper is not a readily available thing. Okay. So if you want to do that, you are now given a regular map where you can finally have that done. But you'll need to, one of the things that you'll need to acquire is somebody who can produce this map, who won't ask questions as to why you want a 5-piece map of the city on transparent litho paper. Now you can tear the map into 5 individual pieces and then bring them together and connect them, because you're given a paper map.
Yeah, I think I'd suggest to do this for now.
Okay.
So that we each, should one of us get caught, they don't have all our information that we mark on every single piece of the map.
But yeah, I hope you understand. I didn't want to talk down your idea in that circumstance.
No, that's
one of those things. It was like, I don't want to reveal too much too early.
I don't know if anyone agrees to this, but I guess we can decide after we're fully done with the planning phase. Anyway.
Yeah, for the moment, there's not enough that we know that's so overwhelming, but as it probably hits a critical mass, it'll be really important that we do that. I think for the time being, I assume Tess can remember this, and that, and I can probably remember this, that.
So we'll leave the map in here?
Yeah, like essentially we probably wouldn't have this marked on your guys' maps. It's probably just something Tess and I know, and then anyone else that has a high intelligence. And then we'll actually start physically marking it once we actually have better resources to do so. If that's
as long as that's cool, because I was assuming our markings on here were reflecting in-game markings we were doing. Kind of like cheap if like we just always perfectly memorize everything. I don't know, but
I mean,
whatever.
I think technically, since I have a map copy I'm working with in my notes, that I have to have an actual map in game, which I have put on my character sheet and say that I usually keep at like the Resistance headquarters.
Yeah, so let's actually discuss a few things, because this is an important mechanic that's going to be happening within the game, and this is another reason for the introduction of insight as a skill in here. So what may end up happening from time to time is nothing I will do, if you ever notice the map when you log in here, is blank. Nothing I will ever be doing is deleting. I will be moving these things to a special layer I have called the GM layer. So when you start doing missions, I am going to ask whether or not you're bringing your map with you. And if you are not bringing your map with you, I'm going to blank out the whole fucking map. And if you can't remember where the place was, then it's assumed your character can't. But if you have ranks in insight, then you will be able to make an insight check to try to recall roughly where that place is. And I will give you one ping. I will give you awareness ahead of time, and I will ping in the relative location of that place. Does that make sense and sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I basically feel like carrying these maps around right now, probably no one should do. We should probably be keeping all the maps down here, because we have to suit up before we go anyways, right?
Correct.
Is having a map of the city, like a regular map of the city, would that be considered strange?
No, some people like like having a map of the city. Some people like use it to get around from place to place. So some people
This is
might
a
have
really big
some
city.
things marked on here. Yeah.
So as long as we don't mark it.
Yeah, it starts to look suspicious if you have a map that's marked with literally every place that's had something bad happen to it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So that's all the information he gives us about this?
So no, he will give you a few other bits of information. The owner of this establishment was previously not in the financial services industry, and this is another reason that it gives us reason to believe that they might be linked directly to the Noquel. They were working previously as one of the guards, serving near some of the nobles connected to Corthus's inner circle. When everything sort of fell apart, they needed work, and they had a good eye for numbers. And they were moved into this position as compensation for the work that they'd done. It is a very well compensated position. We believe they have a number of large fiscal clients, a large number of wealthy clients, as we do notice that there are some nice extravagancies that they acquire for themselves from time to time. So this reinforces our idea that they're clearly linked to something rather valuable. You can often tell whose financial managers are whose based on the quality of things they surround themselves with. Keep in mind that while you're there will be a number of valuable things that are potentially known antiquities. If you feel greedy, you should try to push that down where you can. Some of these things are tracked and some of them are not, but it is a huge risk to take things you're unsure of. Also, we believe he's likely still got some of his old gear from when he was working as a guard. It's important that you understand that anything magical that he has that you leave with is traceable. If he has, say, generic items or objects that are not directly linked in any way to Arcana and do not seem to have any historical significance, bringing them back here should be easy if you want to keep them. But if you bring back that magic, or bring back something that is easily identified as being very unique, I can assure you the assessors will be on the case quickly, and they will inevitably find their way to us. Locate object is a very simple spell, and there are many more above it that make things much easier when you need to find something.
Do we have a name of this individual? Is it kind of... We're just going off a description.
This is where I've been having some trouble. We believe that the individual's name... one moment here. Is Misco Marcel.
Misco Marcel.
Yes.
Something like...
Let's see what we got there. No, little bit more complex. Hang on.
But whatever.
I'll put it in there.
So that is what he goes by, even if it is not his actual name?
No. He goes by Big M.
Big M. Okay.
Big M.
Big M.
He claims it means big money. But a lot of people think it means, well, they call comparison to his belly. Since he's been a little out of the industry, he's let himself go a bit. You can definitely see the signs of how he's been enjoying access to fine foods quite regularly.
So he might be in the meat business.
Don't think it's likely he's in the meat business unless you mean the big eating of meat business.
That is exactly what I was just saying.
Well,
I don't know why you would assume otherwise. I have a fresh supply of meat that I need to sell to somebody.
Well,
maybe he will be a buyer.
I would try to do that on time separate from time trying to get these records, but if you can blend the two, perhaps it could be of value.
Well, if we want to be in there discreetly, then what's better reason than just a simple business proposition to be there?
Yes, but I don't know that you'll be able to get through records if you're simply there to sell meats.
It would be a good scouting mission. You could go in there under that premise and we can get a layout and come back in the next night or something when we want to actually do the deed.
Perhaps.
That is true.
It is very important that I make this known to each of you. We want to minimize casualties on this mission. We need to keep awareness down. When you leave, try to set everything back to the way it was. Try to give him a different reason to think you were there. Maybe steal something valuable but nondescript.
Red herring.
Exactly. Something where we won't have assessors able to find it, but something where he'll feel like somebody he's probably had as a client in the past and upset wanted to get back at him for causing him financial loss.
If we take something valuable and we destroy it, what would that look like to this locate object spell?
Pieces of the object can still be detectable if they were part of the composite thing. So they may still be able to track it, but we get into a gray area there.
If we say took the pieces and we spread them apart, would it just cause chaos to anyone trying to decipher?
The assessors are very efficient individuals and won't stop until they've then found each individual piece and reassembled it into what it is. So you may buy yourself time by doing this, but I don't think you would stop yourself from being inevitably found.
So they wouldn't buy it was a heist if they later found the pieces spread out.
No, it would definitely produce some very bright red flags for them. Especially since for many of these assessors, part of where their names come from is a number of different responsibilities that they have. And one of them is to assess damages loss and identify means of replacing or rectifying the problem.
Are we aware of our target? Is it several documents, a single document?
It is. We do not know exactly what documents it is. If you can identify specifically the document that leads us to the company that is currently transporting the Noqual, then it will be simply that you'll need to bring something with the name of that company. But if you cannot identify it, grab what you can and we'll hope for the best. But keep in mind that the more you take, the more risk we are putting ourselves in.
Do we know of anybody who's currently not getting along with this Big M?
That is something we have not been able to identify in our research. People in these positions of power often keep their social lives very private. They don't talk about them on the streets or in other places our people would have access to, unfortunately.
I'm assuming to have overheard anything of that sort would be like an insanely high check.
Yes.
Well, my brain's working, and I have a lot of ideas. If that's all the information we got, I think we can start brainstorming.
Excellent. Take all the time that you need, but the sooner that we get this accomplished, the sooner we can move on to the next responsibilities. In the meantime, we will assign other teams to these other tasks. Hopefully they will have good success on these.
Hopefully.
And something that needs to be said here. There is some deliberate reason that we're going to make you unaware of the progress of other groups or even the existence of other groups. We have another location somewhere within the city where we have other resources that we will occasionally communicate with who are adjoined to our similar ideas. It is important that not all of our members know all of our members, so that if terrible things do befall us, there are always people to keep the resistance going. There are things I will not know, and things that you will not know, and things that others you find will not know. This is how it must be for now. Any further questions?
Not from me.
All right. Then with that, let's go ahead and take our second break. See you guys shortly. And we're back. So the 5 of you have chosen your path, know your mission. And what kind of plans do you want to make towards this mission?
I don't know if now is a good time to discuss this, but so mechanically, I used some of my 100 gold to buy another outfit and stuff like this that I want to use for our resist missions.
You don't need to buy your outfit. You just need to
Okay.
come up with what you want your outfit to look like.
Okay, because I mean, I'm not that creative. I pretty much went with the burglar's outfit. It pretty much does what I want it to do. It has a mask. It has this. But specifically, I don't know if we want to go into this now, but specifically, I wanted the mask to be designed like a happy and sad face, like similar to that, like being sad and happy at the same time.
Yep.
That was the theme I wanted for my mask.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else got an idea for their persona?
I think Tess wants something that covers literally every inch of skin that's possible. Because I feel like her skin tone would easily kind of stand out. So she's going to be looking for something like one of those things that's like pretty much there is not like a single amount of skin that would like show.
Okay. What else?
Yeah, I mean, mine's obviously just very different color scheme from what I wear around normally. Probably just black or gray or whatever, you know, midnight mission colors make sense. I wouldn't want it to like be to the extent that it interferes with my actual mobility, but I might even want like some type of like thicker heel or something to like make me look a little bit taller.
Okay. That can be done.
If possible, I would like my mask customized so that it would hide or obscure my owl features when I shift.
Yeah, they can have it kind
of.
of wrap around your face and have the mask worn on the front.
Yeah, I pretty much want a featureless mask. Like it doesn't have any features at all. Wraps all the way around and covers my whole head. If I hear, I forgot the other guy, Lynn. If I heard her talking about like lifts to make her look taller, I would also want to look taller.
Okay.
Seems like a good way to not be noticed. And then outside of that, probably, I still want a cloak. So I want to have a hood over the back of the mask too.
Okay.
But just in case the hood comes off, I still want like everything covered pretty much.
And like the mask, the facial part is in a different tone than the rest of the outfit, or same tone?
Same tone.
Okay.
All of it kind of like just blends in. And then like as I go, I'll probably like put like some styles and stuff. I mean some etchings and stuff into like the mask.
Okay. And how about for Grey Bloom?
I was gonna go with city camo. So I forget whether we got like wood buildings or cement buildings or whatever, but I was just
it's mostly stone, yeah. So a lot of gray tones.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah.
And yeah, I mean that I'm gonna have like a mask also.
Anything special about the mask?
I mean, I was thinking it would just be camo like the other. Yeah.
No problem. So yeah, your outfits will be fashioned up for you over the course of the day, and so you can do this. You can do the mission as early as the next day, or at least the any subterfuge portions of the mission, if need be.
Should we brainstorm our ideas of how to do this? Or I had a bunch of ideas. How do you guys want to go about this?
Would I be able to make a knowledge, like, local check to see if there's anything I would know about, like, this person or business that they didn't? I mean, it's probably
You can give me a knowledge and nobility check in this case.
Nobility, okay.
Yeah.
Do I have that one currently? I think I do. It's not as good, but we'll see.
Yeah, not really. What they said is a pretty good synopsis.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you guys will need some amount of time snooping around in the documents. I could I hope tried to draw his attention for enough time for you guys to get that done.
You want to do this during the day?
Well, it's up to you, I suppose.
I hadn't thought about that.
That's the smartest idea. I mean, if you're drawing someone's attention while we're looking through documents and something disappears during then, you don't think he's gonna suspect something?
Well, it's not like it will be instant. I mean, if he is a business person, people will probably come through a lot and talk to him about things. But
I'm not so sure how comfortable I am with you bringing our day business into an area where we're about to do something with this business. It seems like things could mix and go badly very quickly, and the last thing we need is assessors snooping around Laska's, because you were the last person he spoke with before he noticed something missing.
this is true. But if we do go during the day, perhaps we could glean some information about his security, and then a few days later we could actually do the job, I suppose.
Yeah, and we should also scout out his routines, see if he does anything like every day. Like he might go to the bar at a certain time every day where we know that that's a good time to go in.
I had a bunch of good ideas. Before I forget them, let me lay them out. I was thinking Lynn was on the right track when she said we should go there under her business of selling the meat during the day. I don't think all of us need to be there, but I obviously always go where Lynn goes, so that wouldn't be weird. We can try to glean any inside. I'll be trying to look around a lot. Obviously, I'm protective of her. It wouldn't be so suspicious. I'll try to notice any sensors that I can notice. Might help us. Lynn will glean what she can by discussing this with the man, and we'll take note of whatever we can on the inside.
All right. Well, something to think about as far as that goes, though, is that while that's something we could do, that's only something we could do once ever for any mission. If we do that now, we can't attach your guys' names to multiple missions.
Of course.
So we would lose the opportunity to do it something where that is our only way to get in. We'll lose that if we do it now.
I don't think so exactly. It could be a mere coincidence that, like Lynn said, we wouldn't do it the night we went there. We could do it a few days after, even a week after.
You think the assessors aren't
think
gonna
they want us
be
to wait a week. They kind of said it was important.
A few days. Do you think they're going to investigate every single person that went in there between
Yes.
a random point and when it happened?
Yes, these assessors, I believe, will absolutely be checking these cameras and looking at every person that this dude interacted with to determine
From what
whether
point?
there's some connection.
So what if we looked at this a year ago? How would they know what day we looked at stuff?
I'm sure a year would be fine, but like I would say easily, like within a week they'll be looking at stuff.
I think we'll pass any scrutiny. It'll be mere coincidence of us being there one day.
Like I said, we can do this one time. If we need to do this for some future mission, then we can't.
I feel like if we go into enough businesses before, and we actually get on camera at a number of businesses, it's very clearly there that I was there, approaching many clients. There would be no specific reason that if I just walked into that place, then it's very suspicious. But if we can confirm, and the assessors would validate that I was at multiple establishments, that would seem to cover our bases.
Makes it a little bit
I disagree
safer if you go to
completely.
multiple.
I agree that it would be suspicious if suddenly we are always seen at a place that something goes missing. I agree. We don't want to make this a habit, but I think for now, this is not a once-in-a-lifetime thing that we're at a place where something happens. People go into places where things happen all the time. And as Lynn said, we can establish a pattern of us being in a bunch of places.
Well,
Yeah.
so what other ideas do we have if not this?
Before we make a opinion, we need to go see what his routine is. That's what I'm saying. We need to look at his routine before we can make a plan.
Do we know how big the building is? How
Hold
many
on,
people
hold
are
on.
sleeping?
I disagree with that, Grey Bloom. You make it sound as if this is the only man in the building. There could be several guards, anything in there. We need an inside
Yes,
layout.
that's what scouting is. That's what I'm saying we need to
Yeah,
do.
scouting him wouldn't do anything. We get his routine, and then what? We go in, and there's like 50 other guys that happen to be there every night. We have no idea. We can. Yes, I agree with both.
You realize that watching him would involve also watching the building, seeing
Yes, but
people
we-
move in and out.
But we don't see what's. We need to see what's inside the building 100% before we go in there. There's no way we go in there without knowing what's in there.
If there's literally no one but him moving in and out, then we can safely assume that
This is a financial institution, we were told. There's definitely more people than this him.
Yes, we should scout the place before we make any plans, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
There's no harm in looking at the place first. I mean, we can do both if it comes to it.
My
we can
plan
scout
was
the
to do
place.
both. I was
Right.
going to have Grey Bloom do his janitor thing outside the building and take a look at it before we go in. And then once we have a layout, or you can map his routine, or any person's you can, then we have to go inside and see what the situation is inside. We do Lynn's plan, where we are doing several buildings, and we go into theirs out of one of many, and we can try to get a layout. Once we have all this, and I look at Tassara, how quickly can you make a copy of something if you were to look at it?
I don't know. How quickly can I do that?
Making a copy is not an easy thing to do. Like, it's not like she's got a walking copy machine. She could try to write things down.
Well, I was trying to press on her forgery skills.
Yeah, so forgery is a little different than making a carbon copy of something. Forgery is knowing how to make something look like something else. So it would be like faking a signature or like doing specific handwriting. But she's taking documents and applying a template on top of them. It's less so of creating the whole document yourself.
All right, Valeria doesn't know that, but he'll suggest perhaps if we have time, best case scenario, you can copy the document if we find which one we need, and they will never know it was taken. And we select something as the red herring that was taken, and they are none the wiser.
Could take me potentially hours to do.
Which we might have. We're not sure.
We might.
But
they also insinuated, though, that some of these documents might be in code. He said that more for the Plan 1, but Plan 2 is fairly similar, just a different company and a different product. So it's possible that it's going to take me or us a while to even find the correct document if it's in some sort of code that we have to work through.
well, that was just my best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we have to grab a bunch of documents and leave immediately, which is the most likely. I was just trying to plan for the worst, hope for the best kind of thing.
Hopefully we have at least enough time for me to discern which document is the correct document. But if I feel like we have time to copy something, I can attempt to, but this would not be a quick and easy process. We would need to be sure that we have at least an hour or more for me to write.
All right, let's not count on that then. Probably.
Has anybody like been around this part of the city before that we're going to?
Nobody from the party currently has.
I'm just wondering how big the building actually is. Is it the type of building that at night they have like guards at every entrance?
So,
and every
and
floor?
knowledge geography might give you some insight onto this.
That's why I'm saying it out loud. I don't know things about things. Let's try it. Oh, okay. I know
Ooh.
things about things.
Not really. A 19 is enough to know that that is a well-protected area. You don't know if the building has its own guards itself, but you know that there will be guards roaming the area.
And not to be this person, but he technically doesn't have a rank in it.
I don't have any ranks. I have a -1.
Sure, but I'm giving him base level knowledge of the area.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, because technically to roll knowledge geography, you would have to
No,
have a rank.
as long as it's DC 10 or lower.
Yep.
Also, Steve, when I clicked that, it rolled it twice again.
Yeah, there are weird desync issues that can happen.
Okay.
But even with a 4, you know that area has regular coverage on it.
Okay.
I think Grey Bloom brings up a good point. I think we should scout the area for the first few first day or so. And during this time, I think Lynn and I should be going in the other buildings, building this alibi. Then on the second day, we actually go into this building, and a few others doing the meat thing, and we get the inside layout after a day, and while we're doing that, Grey Bloom and whoever else can also be scouting out the outside to see any patterns developing.
Are there a lot of financial institutions in that area?
He told us there were multiple in that area and that we would have to be careful to make sure that we were going into the right building.
Very good.
Shopping
then.
district, right? Is what
And I
The area to the west is a shopping district. To the east of it is less of a shopping district and more of a heavy business district.
Then I shall concoct a plan of around. Augustine needs a better infrastructure to ship meat to not just the inner district but the outer district. We will need a loan. We will need a competitive loan. And we shall go to each of the financial districts there. However many that is.
You plan to actually have the conversation with Augustine about this, right? Because we need to cover our bases. If someone does come speak to him to corroborate, we need to be sure that he's under the same premise.
Well, then it's convenient that he has already asked if we wish to meet, so...
So let's say everything goes to plan. Grey Bloom develops a pattern of this man and sees him go in and out at certain times. We go inside, we get a decent layout, then what? Are we going in at night, breaking in? Are any of you proficient with disabling locks, getting in these things?
Well, at that point, we come back together and form the plan.
All right.
But I think ideally, I guess it depends on the information we get. But
We'll definitely need someone watching the outside during the day and night to see what they do for lockup and what they do in the mornings.
Do we know if there's a curfew in this district?
So there has been no curfew that has been set as of yet. You do know, though, that as it gets later in the evening, there are more guards that walk the streets. But there are less civilians that walk the streets.
But yeah, there's janitors 24/7.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I think a rough timeline so far, just so we're on the same page, is in the morning, Lynn and I will go to Sarah's boss, speak about this loan business. Once that's settled, we'll make our rounds to all the buildings. Grey Bloom and whoever else will be keeping tabs of the outside. This will maintain for the whole day and night. After we've made our rounds and hopefully hit this building eventually, we try to memorize any sensors or anything we can about the layout inside. And we take that information back and we meet back, I guess, the next day, so you can have a full night monitor. Or unless, things shouldn't happen in the middle of the night. You should just see their lockup procedure. And then we can meet at the middle of the night and discuss what we've learned. Does this make sense to everyone? I'm not sure where everyone wants to be during all this.
Makes sense.
I've heard the janitors are as good as invisible on the streets. I don't know if you'll need anyone else helping you keep watch. I'm going with Lynn, obviously, on these rounds. To Sarah, I don't know if it makes sense for you to accompany us after speaking with your boss, or I don't know if you have anything you could prepare for us during this time. Dracus, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you prefer to keep watching the streets or patrol nearby to see if you can see anything else happening nearby, scout out the other sides of the building, cover another side of it that perhaps Grey Bloom can't. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, so we need somebody watching the building while I'm following him while he's out.
Oh, you're gonna actually tail him. Okay.
that's assuming he
I can watch the building.
All right. That's a good plan if he does leave. Greybloom seems to be the sneaky of us. I didn't even see him tail us, actually, when we were doing the trials. So perhaps he is the most best fit for this. Dracus will keep watch over the building no matter what. Tassara, what is your role in this? What do you think you can want to do?
I mean, we'll have to see what Waska wants me to do, but I'm not sure my skill set is exactly pertinent here. It's going to be more so when we get to finding the correct documents.
Can you settle my curiosity? Is there any alchemical way to quickly copy a document? Perhaps you put a blank sheet and spill some ink over it and it copies it or something? Can you do research into this for a day, see if it's possible?
I can attempt, but I don't know anything off the top of my head.
Worst case scenario, I think you accompanying us is not the weirdest thing. You obviously work with all who Lynn is working for. Are you good at appraising things?
I do. I am.
Oh, you do?
I have a small skill in it.
Someone on the inside might be able to identify our red herring. What we want to is not unique enough, but valuable enough to cause them to think that's what was stolen, rather than worry about some documents being stolen as well. Best case scenario is the red herring is just what is stolen. We were able to copy the documents we need, so they never know anything was taken with that, but sounds like that's unrealistic. But just something to keep in mind that would be the most beneficial, I think. But other than that, I guess that's all I can think of. Anyone else has anything to add on, or?
All right, so Dracus is gonna be in one place for a while, so we will probably need to find like maybe if there's a camera blind spot to sit him in. Otherwise, it might be suspicious if it's if there's just someone who's there for like hours that they see.
Right. So I assumed you would be doing it because janitor. Can anyone be a janitor? Can Dracus do it for the day or a few days? Sign up for it?
I mean, he might not have like the basic knowledge of the job if people ask questions, but yeah, I mean,
it would be a bad idea to change your habits too, right before.
Well, I mean, it's strange if you're just still seen standing in front of this building for a while. So I was thinking you would just patrol around and try to make it not obvious you're watching the building.
Right.
Just lounging around and walking around. I don't know if this is odd for that area, though.
When we're looking at the area, we can check and see if there's like some businesses or something nearby, or I could go in and out or something like that.
Yes, I think it's. I don't know if there's any. We can try to find blind spots, but we know there are sensors we can't see or know where they are, so it's going to be hard to count on that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be amazing if there's like some sort of like restaurant or something where that has a window pointed towards it. Oh, that'd be amazing. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or even a gaming place or something like that.
I think you guys should scout this out while we're talking with Tassara's boss about the loan stuff. Preliminary scouting, and see if you can find a good spot to keep up. And then perhaps after you do this preliminary scouting, we should meet back up and decide what exactly we're doing and then head there. So perhaps we'll say an hour after we leave here is enough time for us to talk with I think I don't know if I can do the math of distances in my head. Is that enough time to like talk to someone to come back here, or?
No, this is a fairly large city.
Okay.
So it's gonna take longer than that to just even get there and get back.
Oh, did you show me where my house was on the map?
No, I did not.
We talked about the house, but okay.
Yeah, you live in Pool Farthing. So basically right around here.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and put a building in there for you. Good reminder, thank you. be this little building here. You have to turn this on in 2 places.
Perhaps you can meet us at the northwest gate and let us know what you saw quickly, and then we can start making our rounds to the financial buildings after we heard what information you can give us. Does that make sense?
Oh, well, I mean, we don't know if that's a good spot for a meeting, but...
Just a quick saying, like, yes, it's, like, just give us a quick minute discussion. Friends passing by in a gate for a quick chat. It's not odd.
What would indicate that you shouldn't do that, though? Like, what sort of thing would I be looking at as far as that?
I guess what information would cause us to need to know before we go in there? I guess there's nothing really pressing that could cause you to want to meet us. I guess if you see something that we should be aware of before we go in, we'll look for you at the gate. If we don't see you, we'll assume you guys are fine and assuming your positions. And we'll just proceed with our plan of going to the different institutions. Is everyone okay with this?
I think I'm on board with the intel phase. The operation phase we may have to refine as we get more intel, but for now I think all the pieces that we have assembled will be important. We need to know the insides of the buildings, we'll need to know when it's unguarded, and we need to know who else guards it other than this person that we are interested in.
Yeah, and if there's shift changes or things like that.
Okay. All right. So, what I want all of you to do now is walk me through the plan, and we will play it out as things go.
So I think base case 0 is always going to be me and Valerio go and talk with Augustin to make sure that it makes sense that we're getting a loan. If that doesn't make sense, then we have to come up with an entirely different everything.
Just the 2 of you, or is Tassara coming along?
I mean, it's talking with Augustin, so I assume I would be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, I assume Grey Bloom and Druckus are heading through the northwestern gate, heading around.
Well, so we need to see if we can get Druckus a janitor suit also, in case that is what we need to go with.
You will not be able to get Druckus a janitor suit. If you are not working as janitorial staff, you will not be able to get additional janitorial clothing. And since Druckus is one of the Wallsmen, Druckus will not be able to get janitorial outfits.
Yeah, I think Druckus also mentioned that it would be weird if he just suddenly changed a job or something. So I think it's smart just to have him do something, see if it's odd for loiterers around, or if there is a restaurant nearby where you can just be eating.
You should. It is important that you be doing something. Loitering does often have, if a guard makes a second pass through an area and you're still hanging out, the guard will start giving you, bother pretty heavily. You've all kind of encountered this. It's best to be moving around and not staying in one place.
So do we have an excuse for you, Druckus, if a guard questions why he's been seeing you in the area so much?
Well, what's around there? Is there anything like restaurant, shops, gaming hall, anything near there? Other than
that's something that nobody knows right now. So
so I think you guys have to go there and assess that. If you guys,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say you guys should just assess that, see what's around there, see if there is a spot for you. Grey Bloom probably is better at sussing that out while you're with him. And then if there isn't a spot for you, perhaps meet us by the north gate and we'll discuss what to do at that point. But or you two can figure out something that for it to work. I'm not sure, but you guys have to figure out what's around there to decide the next part.
All right, so I'm gonna try to go by myself because I know Grey Bloom will get in easily as a janitor. So I'm just gonna try to go in and say that I'm shopping and see if I can just get in through the northwest gate.
All right, yeah. So I think both of you can split into, or I guess you all split into 3 small groups. Nothing I love more than splitting the party. And yeah, so Drekis, you'll find that it is easy enough if you say you're here to do some shopping. Like, you have to stand in line a bit. The northwest gate has a bit of a line for you to get in. But it's also a place where they don't really ask a lot of questions as you're coming through the gate. They just assume that you're there to shop. If you were to go in through the south gate, they'd be looking at, like, what the hell are you coming in here for? You're, like, very clearly, an outer ringer. You don't belong here. There's nothing for you here. But up there, it's much easier for you to just kind of come in and move your way through the shops. Grey Bloom, of course, is easy, super easy for you to go in and out. Nobody notices when a janitor changes regions unless there's already a janitor heavily cleaning that region, or there's some other reason that you shouldn't be there. So you can easily pass in and out. But let's do this in a very specific order. Let's do the conversation with Laska first, and then we'll do Drekis' scouting in the area. And we'll see where we're at on time from there. So the 3 of you can make your way into Laska's. You enter, and Augustin, is behind the counter as usual, working on some things, when he sees the 3 of you enter. If it isn't my newest business partners. I thought I'd only have 1, but now I have 2.
Well, you'll have to get used to that. My brother goes everywhere I go.
Inseparable you are, huh?
I mean, that was quite literally what you blackmailed us on the terms of, yes?
Yes. There's always hope that perhaps there are some exceptions. Well,
I saw your notes, and I'm here to discuss the future of your meat industry.
much earlier than I expected, but sure, I guess we can do it now. I just wanted to give you some time in advance so you could think on things, but sure, we can talk now.
Well, I'm a doer, not a thinker. Although I have done quite a bit of thinking with this. I've even started approaching some clients, if you would.
Approaching clients? You're not supposed to be out there marketing. I'm not sure about the marketing of it yet. I don't even have like a full idea for how we'll market it. I'm mostly looking for face. Someone pretty and someone wealthy that can show that they enjoy our meats.
That explains why you couldn't use Tasara.
He looks at you very sternly.
Just kidding.
I would hope you are. The only reason that Tessara could not do this is people do not tend to be okay with her skin tonation.
Well, I understand that you need a face, but what you also will need is clients. I know from what I recall from your business in the past that at one point you might have had good roots within noble connections. but it has gotten quite difficult to establish that. You could have quite literally the best meat products in the entire market and still probably not be able to establish a market there. It's very, very difficult to stand out. I think what you need to do is you need to actually broaden, perhaps in ways reduce the quality of some of your products, but go to a broader audience. Do you have the infrastructure to do that?
No, there's not a business out here that can have that level of infrastructure. I'm trying for a more specialty product. I could maybe thin down some of the cuts of things, but that will have its own negative consequences.
That is always a trade-off, of course, but say you had a larger facility, could you do it?
I would need the manpower and the materials.
Of course. But say I could get you that. As you said, I'm good with convincing people to do what I want. If I could get you a bigger facility and the funding to do so, could you pivot that into a bigger market model, not so targeted on a very few number of clients, but rather casting a wider net?
If you can somehow magically get me more access to people and capital, I could do a number of things, but I don't think you'll find a single person out there that will invest.
Well, on the goodness of their hearts, no. But I think there is a good market here. In my early exploring, people seem interested. There's been a very poor quality of meat in most areas of town as of late.
What's around here barely qualifies for meat. I'm the only one who has anything close.
It is such a low bar, and all we have to do is increase production. And I trust with you orchestrating it, me acquiring you funding, and that funding getting you just the infrastructure you need to mass produce it, we could do this, yes?
What you're saying makes sense, but it doesn't sound realistic. If you think you can accomplish this, though, have at it. Give it a try.
I will run some numbers. Tess here actually seems quite good with the numbers. Perhaps she and I could run through some estimates of what amount we could afford to have an interest rate on. And I could perhaps approach some financial institutions. My stature will cause institutions to perhaps be more willing to offer us a more reasonable loan, given that my credit is probably quite good. If I could get us a very affordable rates, I'm sure that the increase in business we would gain from expanding could easily cover those costs.
Tess, you know where the gray financials are, right? Not the red ones, the gray ones, not the green ones either. We don't want to go too high. Don't want to arouse suspicion.
What is he referring to?
So he has 3 levels of financial records that he keeps on hand for if people come around and ask about how business is doing and he needs to show certain examples of it.
Gotcha.
He has the numbers he uses when, like, somebody comes in and they're talking business and he's just going to flash it to them for a moment. He has which are the green numbers. The green numbers are like, we've been making tons of money.
Yeah,
everything's
the
great.
Best case scenario numbers.
Right. The gray numbers are probably closer to what you imagine the real numbers are. But there's even still a little inflated there. And then the red numbers are the numbers you regularly submit to the assessors for financial approval to make sure that, like, you're paying as little back and easy as possible.
Yeah. Yes, I know which documents you speak of.
if you can bring a copy of them out and give them to him, and suppose you can take on this endeavor if that's what you wish.
Yes, I'll go retrieve them.
Thank you, Tess. Yeah, so you can head back, grab them, bring them back out. Well,
let's take a quick look. See, and I just sort of start skimming through them. Tess, I don't know how to navigate these. What is the current bottlenecks that you see here?
This number, and this number are the pertinent ones you want to look at.
And how much of this is currently capped? So if, let's say, we could expand our customer base to double, but
we could not facilitate a double increase without a substantial amount of resources. We're looking to grow the business by at least 20%. That would bring in enough that we could start a good growth chain.
20%, very good. That's fine. I'm just trying to get an idea. So that would require. Where's the bottleneck that would? So it is in the staff. You say you have the supply. It is the processing that we are limited at.
I would need to be able to pay more people to acquire more of the resources.
Okay.
With the right access to resources, I could probably get us to about 50% increase, assuming that you could drum up the client base.
The client base, I am confident I will find a way on. It is purely the. I kind of just am like writing off of Tessa's notes. I'm like, okay, so I think I have a good enough idea to get an idea of the loans or the financial backings we might need. And if we can offset any costs there, we can achieve that growth and eventually pay off and be self-sustaining again. Otherwise, just this model you have right now of just approach a few, I don't see it going anywhere.
You go and prove that you can even do this, and we'll have a more serious talk. But I really don't see this being something you'll accomplish.
I will try my best.
Yeah. And you can take the document and head off. Dracus. You are. Give me a sec. I want to get good music for this area.
Oh no.
It's fine. That's not what I typed in.
About to be the most ominous music in existence.
That's what I was thinking when he said, I want to get good music. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need good music.
Sure the volume's not crazy high.
Nope, turn it up. We want it at max.
Oh god, I thought this track was longer. There's a different version of that track that's longer. Damn it. I didn't even notice that when I was doing that. Oh, that's why, because there's not timers on any. Don't like that track. I'm not gonna find it. Okay. Take out this. Should have gotten this together beforehand. Sorry. You have certain things in mind and then you don't do them. This is fine. Yeah, this will work for now. Not perfect, but it'll work. Way down. Okay. So you can, Drekus, you can make your way to the gates and get in with relative ease, making your way around, looking like you're shopping for a little bit, and then heading a little deeper through the Armorer's District, and near where I'm going to need an insight check. Or a knowledge local as you're moving about.
Going with insight.
Yep.
I have no knowledge of locals.
All right. So you're trying to remember the streets as you're kind of maneuvering around them, looking for places. And it's very quick and easy to get lost around here. And looking like yourself, people are not willing to engage you if you were to even try to walk up to them for information as to where this place might be. So what I'll need here is some perception checks, because it's going to take you a while. You'll inevitably find this place, but it's going to take you a while to find this place. Okay, that's a good perception check, because that's going to offset what I'm going to do next.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, don't worry. Me pulling out dice is never a bad thing, right?
Always a bad thing.
He's getting the Iron Golem. I know it.
He's rolling for how much platinum you find.
So you are roaming around the streets, looking for a spot, and you're pretty sure after like an hour or so of roaming around, you're on the right trail. But as you do, like as you start moving towards a couple of buildings, you're like, I haven't gone there yet, so this must be where it is. One of the guards dressed in like with a long, that has a long black cape and is wearing the traditional guard's helm, and has a spear in his left hand, comes walking up to you. You've been around here for a while now. What are you looking for?
I'm hopelessly lost. I was actually looking to get something to eat. I really need something to eat after how long I've been lost in this area.
Give me a bluff.
Hey, it's the truth. I am lost.
Do you want to make it a diplomacy instead?
Huh?
You want to make it a
No,
diplomacy instead? Why did that roll 3 times?
I don't know.
Jesus.
I told you it's all weird. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll take the first one either way. It's a little expensive out here to be eaten. You sure you got the coin for it?
I'll find out when I find the restaurant, I guess. I think so.
There's a couple down the way over there. Get to it, though, and then get back to your shopping. You're way out of place out here.
Thanks for your help. I go in the direction you pointed.
Yeah, he's going to watch you the entire time you walk in that direction.
Yeah, I go literally exactly the direction. I look for the restaurant he pointed out. I'm actually going to go in to try to get some food.
You walk where he pointed, and sure enough, there is a little restaurant here. It is a noodle place. They make various pastas. And you can make your way inside. As you step inside, the first thing you notice is that the host is almost like looking through you as you're standing there.
What are you doing here?
Yep. It's too bad we don't have any customers right now. It's a bit of a slow day.
Passive aggressive. Hello.
Huh? What? Oh, yes, you're there.
I am here. I'm big too. Well, I was hoping I could get a window seat.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't serve bread here as a meal.
Okay, that's fine.
You're sure?
I am sure that I don't want bread as a meal.
Well, we have a dress code requirement.
I am wearing clothes.
He looks around and it's like, we really need a dress code requirement. Fine, right this way, sir.
All right.
And he will guide you over to a table. He'll like lay a menu down on the table and walk back to his little podium.
Probably watch me the whole time.
Yep.
What's he doing over there?
Either he or one of the waitstaff that are roaming about, like, always have an eye on you the entire time you're here. They're like checking to see if you've stolen the silverware.
I'm gonna run off with the menu. Fuck you guys. No. Not the silverware, the menu.
Eventually, one of the waitstaff will make their way up to you.
Actually, while I wait, am I anywhere near where I'm trying to go?
Give me another perception. See if you can, how well you can see from here. Ooh, good perception rolls.
I've been rolling pretty good.
So
For the
yeah,
actual roll.
from exactly where you happen to be sitting, there is a sign on a door that you happen to notice has the letters RJ Financial. But there are a number of other names on the door.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell how many other names?
There are, from this distance, you can make out at least 4, somewhere between 4 and 6. Some of the way the letter stacking is together, you can't tell, like, is one of these a business is 2 words, or is it like these are 2 separate businesses?
Gotcha.
But somewhere between 4 and 6 businesses. So, how may I help you?
I'm gonna glance through the menu right quick.
Everything is 4 or more EC, or entertainment coins.
How many EC do I have?
So right now you probably have like about 2 at the. Oh, I don't know how likely do you think it is? You do have a background of money, so you haven't really needed a lot of essential stuff. So you've probably been able to save up a few of your EC, especially since like most of the normal entertainment stuff is probably not real exciting to you.
Yeah.
So you probably have a few on you and could afford to eat here if you wanted to.
How I'm gonna ask the waiter. What time is it?
You don't have a timepiece, sir.
I'm gonna fumble in my pockets and like go through all my EC so he can see that I have a bunch of money.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, we it is 2 hours past second sun, sir.
Oh my god! I'm gonna get up in a rush. I'm gonna have to come back. I do like the restaurant though. I'll see you next time. What's your name?
Yes, sir. My name is DeMarco.
I'm gonna pull out a coin. I'm gonna give it to him.
He takes it. Sir, I've done nothing.
You're right. I'm gonna take it back and then I'm gonna leave.
Got him.
That's what you get for being humble. When you put it that way.
Excellent. All right.
After that, I'm actually gonna head back toward the gate.
Okay.
I don't want to push my luck, and I got pretty much everything I wanted to.
Yeah. The other 3 of you can make your way into the gate. Not at about the same time, but within a relatively similar time period. Because are you making your way there in the same day, or are you planning to do this the next day?
I think the timeline was for us to go there and hit up a bunch of financial institutions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
multiple days of establishing that they're in the area. I think is what.
Well, since we're gonna hit up multiple, let's go ahead and do this. I will give you guys some XP for tonight, and we will wrap up the session.
Okay.
Good.
So everybody can go ahead and take 500 XP for tonight. I had a lot of fun, and we got a good recap, so that's always valuable.
Yeah, recap XP. I get that too, right?
This is shared XP now.
Okay.
So yeah, and we will see how well your plan goes off, perhaps next week. In the meantime, we do still have we are very close to the Halloween party goal. I'm going to double check this real quick because the indicator on the front page is not working correctly. So I'm going off of a...
Yeah, Dan paid for my Halloween sub today while we were playing.
I also threw bits at it, which I don't know. The random gifting of a sub to some random person I don't even know is like, it's just like some random person that came to me. So I'd argue the 1,000 bits is 2 subs.
Yeah, because that's the equivalent of $10, so that makes sense. Where is my thing?
Here you go. I put my Friday or Saturday in the Halloween party tab real quick.
Thank you. Where did it? Oh, it's under the emotes tab. That's where it is.
Yeah, my computer's being dumb. I can't log in. But I subscribed.
I did see that. I wanted to say thank you, and thank you for reminding me, because it was... it came up a little earlier, and I was away, and then I was like, I need to remember this when I go back to my computer, and that didn't work. So yeah, so we are 2 away from the goal of having the Halloween party. I think presently we're showing quite a few people for Saturday, so Saturday is more likely going to be the day.
And this is going to be on Halloween, right?
That would be on Halloween, yes. So yeah, we'll be playing a few games. Guaranteed, we will be playing Werewolf. It is a Halloween party tradition whenever I run it. This will be my first time doing it digitally, so maybe bear with me as we do it. But I'm looking forward to it. And then this Sunday on Scarlet's channel, I'll be running Storm King's Thunder. And then I will be running Mirashad following that on this channel here. So yeah, I think those are all the plugs that I have. I also have an OnlyFans because I did that, but please don't subscribe to me on OnlyFans. I'm not going to put up content there. So good night, everyone. I will catch you later.